Hello and welcome to yet another Saturday episode of me ranting about random crap while I play Team Fortress 2 badly. Another ranting with Bobson. How are you doing on this fine Saturday? So, what do I want to talk about this week while I am playing Team Fortress 2? Well, let's see. Last Thursday, well, actually I am recording this on Thursday, so actually today, I saw a post on a forum about FLCL, FLCL, is getting a new season. And I figured, what the hell, might as well talk about that, because it's something I want to talk about. I mean, at first I thought this was like a April Fool's thing, because next week is April 1st. It is April Fool's Day next Friday, I think? Yes, next Friday. And I thought this was a April Fool's joke. And if it had come out next Thursday on the 31st, it would have been. I guarantee you it would be an April Fool's joke. But since it came out on the 24th, holy crap, I'm really hoping it's not an April Fool's joke, because this would make this entire video kind of pointless, I guess. But yeah, in conjunction with Toonami and the production company that created the anime originally, they're going to be producing two more seasons, 6 episodes per season, so 12 more episodes of FLCL, FLCL. Is it FLCL? Is that the name of FLCL? I've never been too clear. I usually call it FLCL or FLCL. I'm not really sure which one is the actual proper title of it, but yeah, they're making more of it. Holy crap. Holy crap. I don't really know how to feel about this, because on one hand, the original series only lasted 6 episodes, and it really did leave you wanting more once you finished watching it. But on the other hand, it ended perfectly, so it's a bit confusing, because you kind of want more, but you don't want it to be ruined by more of it actually coming out. Now, for those of you who don't know what FLCL FLCL actually is, never watched it, it was a 6-episode series that was released years ago by an anime company, and the basic idea was there's this woman who comes to Earth searching for this fugitive alien guy, and she meets up with this kid who has the ability to have alien stuff popping out of his head, and it's this whole weird convoluted story. And the reason it's so confusing is because it was an entire season. I think it was supposed to be like 12, 24 episodes, whatever a standard anime season is, compressed down into 6 episodes. Because they wanted to take the entire budget and make every single episode as high quality as they could. So they took the entire budget for an entire season and used it to make a 6-episode season. So instead of 12 episodes, 24 episodes, we got 6. So they had to cramp the entire season's worth of story into 6 episodes, but the result was very confusing until you watch through the entire series, all 6 episodes, and rewatch them a couple times before you actually get the story completely wrapped around your head wrapped around it. But the result was perfect. It was wonderful, hilarious, and the animation quality was beautiful. I mean, it was high quality animation, and that's one of the reasons they did this, is they wanted to get as high quality animations and stuff like that, and they needed the budget to do that. So yeah, they only had the budget for 6 episodes. So yeah, it was a perfect story that was very confusing, and it didn't really feel like a season of a series. It felt more like a movie that had been cut into pieces and split into 6 episodes. So when it finally ended, it ended in a way that felt like an ending. It felt like that was the end of the series, that was the end of the story. So hearing that they're actually going to come back and make 2 new seasons of this, 12 new episodes, it's one of those things that, on one hand, you really want to see more of it, but you don't want it to be ruined by coming back and not being as good, not living up to that expectation. Because that really is the problem with some things, like television shows and comic books and movies and stuff like that. They'll just keep coming out with more and more of it, and eventually it overstays its welcome. Or on the other hand, it'll die before its time, and it'll just be too short, and it will end before you really feel it should have ended. And I'm not really sure which one's better for a series like that to do. Leave you wanting more, or wishing it had ended a long time ago. I mean, just look at The Simpsons. The Simpsons has been going on for 25 years at least. 25 years now? Or more? And it feels like it should have ended 15 years ago. I mean, or at least 10, 15 years ago, it should have ended. But they just keep coming back every season. They keep beating that dead horse, dragging it around, hoping that they can squeeze a little bit more money out of the series, simply because Fox is still making money on it. And it should have been put to rest. It should have been buried. It should have been canceled years ago, but it has just kept coming back every single year. And that's not something you want to have happen. That's not something you want to see with a series. You want it to end on a natural ending point. And it felt like FLCL actually did that. It felt like it ended where it should have ended. The ending of the actual sixth episode felt like the ending. It felt like the end. So I'm not sure how they're going to come back with it, what they're going to do with it, but I have hopes for it. I'm not really that hopeful for it, but let's hope it actually is okay and not a complete waste of time and money, because, yeah, like I said, they spent an entire season's worth of budget to make those 6 episodes. So if they don't have that level of budget, that level of dedication to each of the 12 remaining episodes for the next 2 seasons, then they will not turn out as well. And they will be a letdown, they will be a disappointment, and the entire thing will be ruined, unfortunately. So, yeah. That's not to say Toonami isn't... Toonami, Adult Swim is all part of the same thing, so when you have stuff like Toonami and Adult Swim, they do put out some good animations, or at least they fund some good animations. I'm not really sure they actually make it themselves. I mean, just look at Venture Brothers. Venture Brothers is very well animated, very well done, has great story, so, yeah. Toonami and Adult Swim does have a good reputation when it comes to that sort of thing, but still, is worrisome that they're bringing it back. And another example of what I'm talking about here would be Family Guy. Family Guy is a perfect example of something that died before its time and lived well beyond its natural expiring point. Because the original couple seasons were fairly good. Now, I will admit, the original seasons, the first seasons of Family Guy were fairly good. Before it became what it is now, it was fairly good. And it got canceled. It got canceled, and it felt like it died before it should have. It felt like it had some more stories and more seasons in it, and it just got canceled. But they brought it back. They actually brought it back. No idea why. But they did bring it back for a few more seasons. And it felt good. It felt a good extension. It felt like it did have the right thing to do. It felt like the right thing to do, bring it back. It felt like the seasons that came after the original cancellation were worth the wait. It was worth bringing it back. But then it got canceled again. Now, if they had left it like that, if they had left it canceled that second time, then Family Guy would be looked at fondly as something that died before it should have. Unfortunately, they brought it back a second time. It was resurrected a second time. And now, after all these years, it is still going. Well beyond the point it should have already been canceled. Well beyond the point that the creators, the writers, have really stopped caring and have just started phoning it in. And it's just gotten to the point where it's just crap and horrible. And it should have died a long time ago. So, yeah, it's both an example of something that died before its time and lived well beyond its time. And that's the kind of thing you don't want to see in either extreme. But yeah. Something else I guess I could talk about while I'm playing this game is I recently watched One Punch Man, and this is something else that falls within that category of should it continue? Should it keep going? One Punch Man is the story of Saitama, a superhero guy who basically trained for a couple years and is now the strongest man in the world. Maybe even the universe, I'm not really sure. But it's basically kind of a parody of all those super powerful guy, superhero kind of power leveling kind of animes, like Dragon Ball Z or Bleach or stuff like that, where you have the hero start off fairly strong, come up against an enemy that's equally as strong or slightly stronger, so they have to run off, train for a long time or a very short time, get very stronger than they were, so they can fight the new enemy, defeat the new enemy, and come out triumphant, only to have a new enemy show up that's even stronger, so they have to go off and train and get stronger and then come back and fight that new enemy. And then it's a cycle that just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating until you get into the later seasons, the later ends of the story, and it's just ridiculous, insanely stupid levels of power. I mean, in the later seasons of Dragon Ball Z, Goku literally had the power, should have had the power to destroy entire galaxies, in all honesty. If what was being said in earlier seasons was true, he should have been able to destroy entire galaxies with a wave of his hand or some shit like that. And that's the kind of power level that starts beginning to get ridiculously stupid. And in One Punch Man, the main character starts off at that level. Right at the beginning of the story, he trains for a couple years, and he's already at that level before he even gets started with the whole hero thing. And as a result, nothing is at all difficult for him. He's just a hero. He can basically take on any enemy and just kill them in one punch. And that's basically the idea of One Punch Man. He's bored out of his mind because he can't find anyone to fight. And he just doesn't take anything really all that seriously. He's just kind of bored with the whole thing, but he just keeps doing it because he finds it fun. And I find that hilarious. Starting out at the end game power level right at the beginning is an interesting concept. And it leads to hilarious situations. And I love the writing of the series. Like I said, I binge watched the entire 12 episodes of the anime. Like last week, one night, I just sat through and watched the entire 12 episodes. And I liked it. It was fun. It was hilarious. But it's one of those stories that, how far can they actually go with this before it gets repetitive? How far can they go with it before it goes past the "it should have already ended" line? I mean, one season of it is perfect. It ended in a way that was very natural, very hilarious, and crazy and fun. And I think they're actually coming out with a second season of it. I looked on the wiki, and I think they actually are coming out with the second season. And the manga is actually still going, I think. So they still have tons of stories, but it's one of those stories that it could easily go to that point that it should have already ended. And it's just one of those things. You don't want it to go too far, but you don't want it to end too soon. And finding that medium between those two extremes of ending it before its time or ending it well beyond its time is hard to do. And I really hate having to say stuff like that because I really want to see more of Fooly Cooly. I do. I want to see more Fooly Cooly. Hell, I want to see more One Punch Man. More anime of One Punch Man. But I don't want to see it be ruined by having more of it. And that's really what I want us to talk about. Because stuff like Dragon Ball Z or Bleach has gone well beyond the point where it should have already naturally ended. And stuff like Family Guy and Simpsons have gone well beyond the point where it should have naturally ended. But it's still going. I don't know. Is Dragon Ball Z still going? No, I think it's already been canceled. But yeah, Bleach probably as well. I'm not sure. I stopped paying attention to that years ago as well. So yeah, how long have I been going with this? I've been ranting on about Fooly Cooly, random animes and cartoons for the past 15 minutes while playing this game. So yeah, I think it is time to end it. So thanks for watching. This has been Bobson. This has been another episode of Bobson Rants. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye.